Hello everyone. Now this is our first lecture of the course PHY 302A Electronics First. And the first unit of this course is the semiconductor diodes. Now the basic study of electronics have been studied by you in 12th class. Now this course will give you the detailed study of electronics. Now any device whose action is based on the emission of electrons, flow of electrons and control of electrons is called as the electronic device. And electronics, it is the branch of physics that deals with the study of different electronic devices. So we can say that electronic devices are nothing but the basic building blocks of electronic circuits. The electronic devices used in the early days were vacuum tubes. But today the electronic devices are the semiconducting electronic devices. The vacuum tubes require high power consumption. They were very big in size. But today we are using the solid state devices or the semiconductor devices. These semiconductor devices are smaller in size, they are light in weight, and also they consume the less power. And therefore the vacuum tubes were replaced by the semiconductor devices. Now the contents of these chapters are metal insulator and semiconductor, intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor, p-n junction diode, formation of depletion region and barrier potential, forward and reverse biased p-n junctions and current voltage characteristics of p-n junction diode, static and dynamic resistance, Zener diode, light emitting diode, that is LED, photodiode and solar cell. Now in today's lecture we will discuss about the first two topics, that is metal insulator and semiconductor and intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductor. Now semiconductor is the heart of electronics. Now before studying the semiconductor, first we must study about the energy bands in solid. Now we know that electrons revolve around the nucleus only in the permitted orbits, and energy of electrons depends on the orbital number. Means in isolated atom, an electron in a particular orbit has fixed energy levels. Okay, you might have been studied this in 11th or 12th class. Now when we consider solid, large number of atoms, they are closely packed. This closed packed structure of atoms affects the energy levels of every electron, and therefore all the electrons in the different orbits will have slightly different energy levels. Hence, instead of having single energy level for a orbit, it will have a range of energies called as the energy band. Okay. Now the important energy bands are valence band, conduction band and forbidden energy band. This forbidden energy band is also called as the forbidden energy gap, or simply we called it as a band gap. Now valence band, it contains valence electrons. Valence electrons are the electrons present in the outermost orbit. The electrical properties of any material depends upon these valence electrons. The conduction band, the electrons present in the conduction band are responsible for the conduction of current in that material. These conduction electrons, they are called as the free electrons because they can randomly move within the solid. And the third important energy band, that is the forbidden energy gap, or simply we called is as a band gap. Now this forbidden energy gap, it separates the conduction band and valence band. The valence band and conduction band is separated by a gap, and that gap is called as the forbidden energy gap. The electrons can stay in valence band or in conduction band, but they are not allowed to stay in the forbidden energy gap. Now, by considering the electrical conducting properties, the solid material is classified into three groups, and these groups are metals or conductors, semiconductors and insulators. Now, our first topic is the metal, insulator and semiconductor. We can distinguish all these three materials according to the energy band representation. Now look here. This is the energy band diagram of metal or conductor. This is the energy band diagram of insulator, and this is the energy band diagram of a semiconductor. This is the valence band, this is the conduction band. Now in metals, the valence band and conduction band are overlapped with each other. As both the energy bands are overlapped with each other, there is no band gap between the valence band and conduction band. There is no band gap here because the valence band and conduction band, they are overlapped with each other. Therefore, due to this overlapping, what will happen? There is no physical distinction between the two bands, and therefore all the valence electrons, they become free electrons, because as the bands are overlapped, means intermixed with each other, there will be no physical distinction between the two bands, and all the valence electrons that will be in the conduction band, means the valence electrons become free electrons here, and these free electrons are responsible for the conduction of current in metals, and therefore metals are called as the conductors. Now our second solid material is the insulator. Now see here, in insulator the valence band is completely filled up by electrons and the conduction band is empty here. Conduction band is empty. But valence band and conduction band, they are separated by large band gap here. And this band gap is about 5 electron volts to 15 electron volts. Electron volt, it is the unit of energy. The band gap is about 5 electron volt to 15 electron volt. Means if this valence electron will jump into the conduction band, it will require a thermal energy of 5 electron volts to 15 electron volts. If it has this much amount of energy, then only the valence electron will cross this energy gap and enter into the conduction band. But this energy gap is very large, therefore in case of insulators, the valence electrons do not have sufficient thermal energy to cross this energy gap and enter into the conduction band. Therefore, there are no free electrons in the conduction band, and hence conduction of current is not possible in insulator. Insulators are bad conductors of electricity. Okay, and the third type of solid material, that is the semiconductor. Now in semiconductor, the completely filled valence band is separated by a small energy gap. Valence band and conduction band are separated by a small energy gap, and this energy gap is about 0.2 electron volts to 2.5 electron volts. Means the valence electron will require this much energy range, that is 0.2 electron volts to 2.5 electron volts, to cross this energy gap and enter into the conduction band. Now at absolute zero temperature, the valence electrons do not have sufficient energy to cross this energy gap and enter into the conduction band. So here at absolute zero temperature, the valence electrons are not excited. Therefore, they will not cross the energy gap and enter into the conduction band. Hence, there are no free electrons in the conduction band at absolute zero temperature. So, at absolute zero temperature, the semiconductor acts as an insulator. But at room temperature, some of the valence electrons are thermally excited, because at room temperature they gain some thermal energy, and hence due to that thermal energy they are excited, and therefore they cross this energy gap and enter into the conduction band. And therefore what will happen? At room temperature, the semiconductor acts as a conductor. Means as the temperature will be increased, more amount of valence electron will cross the energy gap and enter into the conduction band. Means semiconductor can act as conductor, it can also act as an insulator, and this depends upon the temperature. Therefore we can say that semiconductor is a material whose conductivity lies between that of conductors and insulators. Okay. Now semiconductors, they are of two types: intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. Now intrinsic semiconductor, it is a pure semiconductor, and extrinsic semiconductors are doped semiconductors. Pure semiconductor means there is no doping. No doping means no addition of impurity in that material. Such type of semiconductor is called as the intrinsic semiconductor. Now silicon and germanium, they are the pure semiconductors. Silicon and germanium, they are the pure semiconductors. Okay. Now at absolute zero temperature, silicon and germanium have no free electrons, and therefore they behave as insulators. But at room temperature, due to some amount of thermal energy, some of the covalent bonds are broken and few electron hole pairs are generated. Now in intrinsic semiconductor, the number of electrons and the number of holes are equal. Holes are positive charge carriers. Holes means the absence of electrons. Okay. Now, if a potential difference is applied across such semiconductors, then very small magnitude of current flows through it. Okay. But if we want to increase the conductivity of the semiconducting material, we have to add some suitable impurity to a pure semiconductor. We have to add some suitable impurity to a pure semiconductor, and by the addition of this impurity, the conductivity of the intrinsic semiconductor can be permanently increased. The process of adding impurity to a pure semiconductor is called as the doping, and the doped semiconductors, they are called as the extrinsic semiconductors. Now, extrinsic semiconductors are of two types. One is the N-type semiconductor and other is the P-type semiconductor. Now, N-type semiconductor is formed when the pentavalent impurity is added to a pure semiconductor. And P-type semiconductor is formed when trivalent impurity is added to a pure semiconductor. Now look at this figure. Okay. This figure is showing the formation of N-type semiconductor. Now how N-type is formed? It is formed when pentavalent impurity is added to a pure semiconductor. Now pentavalent impurity are phosphorus, then antimony, arsenic, etc. Now in this figure we have shown this phosphorus. Pentavalent, it has 5 valence electrons. These are these 5 electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 5th electron. Now pentavalent impurity is added to the pure semiconductors such as silicon here. Okay. Silicon is tetravalent. You take silicon or germanium, both are pure semiconductors. They are tetravalent. The valency of silicon and germanium is 4. Okay. Now, when pentavalent impurity is added to a pure semiconductor, what will happen? The 4 valence electron forms the covalent bond. Okay. Now phosphorus is having 5 valence electrons. Out of these 5, 4 electrons of phosphorus is forming a covalent bond with the neighboring silicon atom. Covalent bond means it is formed by sharing pair of electrons between the 2 atoms. Okay. So this is covalent bond, this is covalent bond, this is covalent bond formed here. Again covalent bond is formed here. The phosphorus is pentavalent. The 5th electron do not have a pair of electron to form a covalent bond. So here there is excess of this electron. There is excess of electron. Electron is negative charge, therefore such type of semiconductor is called as N-type extrinsic semiconductor. N stands for negative. Here, in this type of semiconductor, the conduction of electrons is mainly due to the electrons. There is excess of electrons means the majority charge carriers are electrons here and the minority charge carriers are holes in N-type semiconductor. Now second type of extrinsic semiconductor is the P-type semiconductor. Now P-type semiconductor is formed when trivalent impurity is added to a pure semiconductor. Now in this figure we have shown the trivalent impurity as boron. We add boron to a pure semiconductor such as silicon. Boron has 3 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3. This is the boron atom. Okay. It has 3 valence electrons. Silicon, its neighboring atom is silicon, it is tetravalent, it has 4 valence electrons. So the 3 atoms of boron will form a will form a covalent bond with the neighboring silicon atoms, but this silicon atom will never form a covalent bond with this boron atom because there is no electron here to form a sharing pair, and hence there is absence of electron here. This absence of electron is called as the hole, which is a positive charge carrier. And therefore in p-type semiconductor the current conduction is mainly due to the holes, because holes are the majority charge carriers and electrons are minority charge carriers in a p-type semiconductor. P stands for positive. The majority charge carriers are holes, that is the positive charge carriers in p-type semiconductor, hence the name is given p-type semiconductor. Okay. Tomorrow, means on the next lecture, we will discuss about the semiconductor diode and formation of depletion layer and barrier formation. So thank you everyone.